Right, today I'm being joined by the talented author and illustrator, Esther Samuels-Davis. Hi, Esther. Welcome to my podcast.
Hi, Angel. So lovely to be here. Thank you for having me.
That's okay. You're more than welcome. Right, so could you start off by telling my listeners just a little bit about yourself?
My name. Oh, well, you know my name already, but but yeah, I live in Berlin, Germany, and I'm originally from a really small town in upstate New York, next to the Catskill Mountains.
Wow.
And then I spent about 8 years in Oakland, California, to an art school, and then worked as a letterpress printer for a number of years.
Okay.
Yeah, and then but I always was drawn to doing picture books since I was about 17. It just took me a really long time to kind of get my footing in the illustration world, which I didn't really do until I ended up moving to Berlin in 2013, where I found it was a little easier to enter into that scene here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what kind of inspired you to sort of become an artist and author?
Well, my mom had a really giant collection of picture books.
Okay.
And my parents would both read to me a lot at night, and I think it kind of just, a lot of the picture books were there were all sorts of styles and themes, and some were really kind of adventurous and out of the box. And it just taught me that it was this wonderful way to communicate. And so I feel like I was always really drawn to do that with my life, because I thought it was kind of this best way of, I always knew I wanted to draw, and it was this wonderful way of being able to kind of get your drawings into spaces that, I don't know, it feels strange to me to maybe do a drawing and then have it sell to one person in a fancy gallery, and then that's kind of it. And it's this way of using art to communicate to everyone. And books are free if you go to the library. So really everyone has access to the work and ideas that you make, which I feel is so exciting.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Wow. Any particular books? Because I know you said that you read lots of books as a child. So any books that kind of like stuck with you?
Yeah, I have a few. My favorite book was The Big Orange Spot by Daniel Pinkwater.
Okay.
I think that's his name. I have the book on my shelf, but I don't want to unplug from the computer. So maybe the author name is wrong. Sorry, but it's incredible. The illustrations are kind of done just with like felt tip pen. They're really basic and lovely, but it's all about this guy who lives on this like neat street, and all the houses are the same. And one day this bird comes and like drops this can of orange paint on his house, and all his neighbors are like, "You have to fix it up to make our street neat." And he like keeps not doing it, and then kind of buys all this paint and paints his whole house like crazy colors, and then like gets a tiger and palm trees, and is like just relaxing and like enjoying his house. And it's like, and then each day a new neighbor comes over and like tries to talk him into getting his normal house back, and then he like sits and talks to them about their dreams, and then every morning the new neighbor has turned their house into like their favorite dreams. So then it ends up being this like spectacular street about like self-expression, and I feel like that had a huge impact on my life. But so yeah, if I was gonna name one book, definitely as a picture book, that one is worth checking out.
Wow.
Really great.
Do you know, now that you've explained that, I can definitely see that through your artwork and like your style. I can see that being reflected through your style. It's really, wow. It's really interesting, the things that inspire us, are the things that kind of stick with us anyway, and that you can still see that, through your art now. So yeah, wow.
That's interesting. Oh, that's cool that you can see that. That's really neat.
Definitely.
It is really cool that especially with picture books, that you can end up, if you do it I don't know, if you talk about things that are meaningful to you, you could end up maybe influencing someone, as you know as well, because you're also an illustrator as well, right? Yeah. Your pictures are beautiful.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. I love them.
Thank you. So any key moments as an author, so throughout your career as an author, anything that really stood out for you?
I guess I'm quite new, at least as a published author.
Okay.
And I guess as key moments, I guess the journey to getting published was really interesting, and kind of lovely in this like roller coaster sort of way, where because I'd written the first book I've had published, I wrote when I was 19 and illustrated it back then. And then kind of left it for a long time, and then my drawings changed, and so I didn't want to like submit that book to anyone. But my mom kind of pushed. I wrote other books in the meantime and couldn't find publishers, and also just didn't really try that hard, like didn't understand how to put myself out there, because it's pretty intimidating. And then my mom kind of pushed me to she's like, why don't you re-illustrate that other one that you did back when? So I did, and then, but that process was like, then I re-illustrated it and then sent it, and of course it's like rejection after rejection after rejection. But then through the rejections, it's like the book kind of evolved and changed, where working on like the cover, working on the cover more, or one publisher was like, I like it, but can you make it more colorful? So I kind of amped up the colors in Photoshop just with the adjustments tools. Which is how the illustrations are now. The pictures almost look black and white in real life because the color that I used was so subtle. So through but then I ended up getting rejected from that publisher anyway. But then I was like, but this is great because I came out with a better book.
Yeah, of course.
And that
came out of it.
Exactly. So it was this really nice journey of kind of like growth through the rejections, and maybe it was about 40 or 50 rejections. And then I finally took it to a few book fairs, and then went to one book fair in Bologna, and finally found the publisher that I'm working with now, who's really small, but really lovely. And I wouldn't want to work with anyone else, I feel like, just because it's just two men in Switzerland. They're just lovely. But so I feel like that whole kind of journey, I guess, talking about moment, it's not one moment, but was definitely a really big, wonderful learning curve. Yeah. Okay.
Brilliant. So it sounds like you've traveled a lot.
I guess everything is always variable. Since I feel, or not variable, but that's the wrong word. Other people maybe have traveled, done a lot more world tour, or been in every state in the U.S. or something. But I guess a fair amount.
Yeah. Any places you've been that has been your favorite?
Oh gosh, that's really hard to say. I do have to say it was a lifelong dream of mine to go to Ireland. And because I grew up on a lot of Yeats poetry that my dad would read me, and then this movie called The Secret of Roan Inish that was my favorite movie as a child. And a lot of Irish folklore, and also this book by Brian Froud called Fairies. Brian Froud and Alan Lee, that's amazing, and most of their settings that they kind of describe are all the magic was in Ireland. So I always wanted to go there, and I went with my husband last year, and it was I was worried it was gonna kill all my fantasy, and instead it made it even better. So that was really great trip, just because of all of I didn't realize how many crazy 5,000-year-old tombs and rock structures are there, and it's just it's incredible.
There's a lot of history there. Yeah, I've got Irish family, so
what?
I hear a lot of hear a lot of folklore and that kind of stuff. So it has always appealed to me. I myself haven't been. I've always wanted to go. So it seems like a magical place.
Yeah, I really felt like it was like I felt like it was like so beautiful. But do you feel like that's one reason you're drawn to storytelling? Because I feel
I
like
think so. I really think so. I think there's something in that, you know. But yeah, I
wow.
really, really do enjoy storytelling. I feel like it's just part of me, if you know what I mean. It's really hard
Yeah.
to describe.
Because I saw you're like a preschool or a kindergarten or preschool like
Yeah,
a
I am.
teacher.
Yeah.
You must be have done storytelling for a long time then.
Yeah.
I guess there as well, besides before the podcast then.
Yeah. I've been doing nursery. Here we call it a nursery teacher. But yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. It's pretty much a kindergarten teacher. I've been doing it for a very, very long time. Over 12 years now.
Wow,
So
that's amazing.
I've read a lot of books.
Well, yeah, you can tell. I mean, yeah, you're a real just a real talent. That's amazing.
You.
Yeah.
You're too sweet. Thank you.
Really, yeah. Truly.
Oh.
That's cool though.
Wow. Right. So, how have you been during this lockdown? Have you picked up any hobbies, any new skills?
Oh, that's interesting. I did. I feel like I finally have the time to cook, which is like amazing. I don't know how you feel. Well, I guess as a illustrator, I feel like I just I love eating, and I don't mind cooking, but I don't put the time into the cooking or learning how to cook, and I never have. At a moment, like embarrassingly old to be as poor of a cook as I am, and I feel like the chance that it's I don't want to eat out during where there was no eating out for a long time, and even now I'm a little hesitant.
Same.
And
yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So I feel like it's kind of been this wonderful time of being forced to cook, but in a nice way. And even just developing kind of more of a little exercise routine, which I never had. And I feel like my body, sometimes I feel like it's just falling apart from sitting 12 hours a day. I find that's the most biggest problem as an illustrator, an artist, and any sedentary job. You find you can sit for 12 hours straight. Yeah. And it does make a big impact on your posture, doesn't it? I find it does make a big change in that. Yeah. Because have you noticed a change because you were probably a lot more physically active as a nursery school teacher?
Definitely. I've noticed a big difference.
Oh God, that's so interesting. Because I also as a printer, I was so strong, I feel like. So I was a printer on all these really old machines from the 1800s. So there are all these old iron machines. And I had I had I had muscles on one arm, but it was still I was proud of that one arm, and then as soon as I moved here, I was oh man, I feel like I could break my arm with a twig or something. But yes, I can imagine maybe you're feeling similar.
Yeah, definitely. I've got a strong right arm.
Yeah, that's always the right one. It's so
everything
funny.
else is just
I know. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, have you picked up anything new? I'm curious. I know that.
Definitely. Yeah. I've started, I don't know if you've seen, but I've started to do make jewelry from natural things. So I've gone into wooden and clay and anything that was natural, I've decided to turn into jewelry. So that's a new thing now. And obviously
that's amazing.
Well, you can say storytelling is newish because I've done the podcast.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's kind of huge to make it into a thing that you're doing regularly. And then now you're doing these interviews and I saw you have a couple other interview shows and I was oh, this is wonderful. You're really prolific. I'm so impressed.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. It seemed to have just happened out of nowhere.
That's amazing.
The virus was kind of good in a way.
Yeah, I know. I feel like it's awful to say because some people are really discovering themselves through it. And of course, for some people, it's just obviously a nightmare.
Of course. Yeah.
So it's this really strange energy from it.
Definitely.
Yeah. But it's good to be able to appreciate when something's good,
of course.
or when something good is it's happening to you, that's also good.
Of course, I think that's what you need to do in like times like this. I think you need to kind of think about, you know, the positives and, you know, the good things of your life, and not try and focus too much on the negative, because I think the more you do, the worse you'll feel and the worse the situation seems. So your best way is to just, you know, focus on your positive, focus on the things you can do rather than the things you can't.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I totally 100% agree. Was jewelry making something you'd wanted to do in the? I know I'm not supposed to be interviewing you. I'm just curious, but was it something you thought about? I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just curious if like it's something you'd wanted to do in the past, or if it just kind of came about. Yeah.
No, I think that just kind of came about. I dabbled in it a little bit last year. It was basically just simple bead making, like bracelets. Cool. I did that. It was okay, but it wasn't as creative as I wanted it to be. I wanted to really explore like the different things I can do, because I'm quite a hands-on person when it comes to like, because at work we do lots of messy play activities with the children, like corn flour and paints and, you know, and mud, and we really get hands on, you know. So I kind of thought, okay, can I do this? And I just tried it and it worked. So yeah.
Awesome. Wow, that's great. Yeah, they're really beautiful. I have like, my ears are big, or like I stretched them along when I was in high school.
Okay.
So I can't wear earrings, but I was always like, man, I want some of your earrings.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
So what can your readers, have, like, what do they have to look forward to, like, from your books in the future? Any new projects or anything?
Well, I'll be illustrating 2 books for a woman who's in Hawaii, who's doing kind of this book on, it'll be kind of like female empowerment underlying themes, but it's all like mermaids and...
Wow, my favorite.
Well, yeah, I'm like, we'll see. I'm working on the second illustration now. They're quite detailed, but it's been really fun working with her, because she's... her name's Julia Hangst, and she has like a really wild imagination. And I feel like also because she's in Hawaii, and her partner is a surf camp teacher for a surf camp for girls. Okay. And so they're just like, she'll just send me a video of like a whale breaching. So I feel like, or like, you know, next to them as they're surfing. And so it's just like, I feel like she's in the perfect place to write a book about mermaids. But
definitely.
And then I'm working on a book, but I am working on the outline for it. And it's been a little bit challenging because most of the things I write are really short and kind of simple. And this, I want to be a bit longer, because I want it a bit to be a book, kind of like a playful book about depression, but not playful in like a campy way, but in like a journey way, and a little bit more for adults, so that I can kind of be a little more not hold back, I guess, on certain vocabulary, or not like cursing, but like, you know, just be able to kind of be
more
free
like
with
grown up kind of themes rather than, you know,
but in a kind of like more playful Alice in Wonderlandy way. So we'll see. I'm hoping that it happens. My publisher's interested in it, but it makes me intimidated that someone's interested in a book that hasn't been written yet. But yeah, hopefully that will happen soon. So
I look forward to that, and I'm sure my listeners and your readers will definitely look forward to that too.
Me too. Just kidding.
Wow.
We'll see.
Definitely. I will be looking out for that. So where can my listeners find your books?
So I have a personal website, which is dirtyliktheweeds.com, where I have some of my smaller, like, self-published books and zines, and my first children's book, Togetherverse. Right now you can find it on Amazon, or on my publisher's website, which is my publisher's name is Tautime Verlag.
Okay.
And they just got distribution in the US. So it's going to be kind of changing, and I'm hoping that I don't really like that the books are only on Amazon, or like the easiest way to get them right now is Amazon. So hopefully in the next month, there'll be some more outlets. But unfortunately, I can't say what they are at the moment. But if you follow, let me look quickly. They did just start on Instagram. Sorry.
Oh, that'd be good.
Okay, so that's Tao Time Books on Instagram. So it's TAOTIM. And I'm sure if you follow up with them there on Instagram, then it, yeah.
Yeah, wow. Okay.
That could work. Or if you, on me on Instagram, also just Dirty Like the Weeds. If you send me a message in a month, maybe I could also tell you where to get the book.
Okay, that'd be brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah.
So other than books, what else do you, things do you design? Do you design like other items?
Mostly books or illustration related things. Yeah, so I do have prints. And I have like a card deck, like a self-help card deck.
Wow. And how did that come about?
That one, actually it came about because an old boss of mine said that I should re-illustrate the Greek gods to sell as postcards. And I started trying to like do that, and then was just really bored by having to illustrate something that I didn't really connect with. But I don't know. And I was like, I've never been one to like want to re-illustrate something like that. No. And I just couldn't connect to it personally. But then I was like, but I like the idea of gods. And so I was like, well, I could just make up my own gods for fun. And then I decided like it would be fun to do a deck of gods that help you.
Wow.
And so each god is like represents something different, and so one might be for anxiety, and some are more playful than others. Some are for like connecting to the dead, or like one god provides like a phone line to the dead, and some are more playful, like reminding you to eat a snack, you know, because you work too hard and forget. And they're all kind of written with like, it's like the descriptions are very like lighthearted, so it's not too. Doesn't take itself too seriously, but at the same time tries to provide a little like camaraderie.
That's so cool. I love that idea.
Well, thank you. That's sweet. Thanks so much.
Okay, I like that. Right.
I can send you one.
Oh, thank you. Right. So, thank you so much for coming on my podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, it's been amazing. And okay, so guys, don't forget you can find Esther Samuels-Davis's work on dirtyliktheweeds.com. And if you have any more questions or anything like that, don't forget to also find Esther on Instagram the same way, Dirty Like the Weeds as well. Okay, right. So thank you very much, Esther, as well, for coming on my podcast again. It has truly been a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Angel. The feeling is mutual. It's lovely to talk to you. Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. Okay then, bye.
Bye.
Bye.